Wiredu. How can they help? Good morning, and thank you
Good
very much
morning,
for
sir.
speaking to us.
Thank you for having me, brother.
I hope you're well.
I'm grateful, bro.
Well, we're now hearing about a situation where increasingly there's passenger congestions at some pickup points because of what is said to be the unavailability of cars. There are passengers also complaining about the fact that there are some commercial drivers who either overcharge them or play a fast one on them by picking them to one point, then declaring that they are going to their final destination. So I've charged them twice or three times. Are you operational enough to make up for these shortfalls?
Thank you very much, my brother, for having me once again. And let me say good morning to our cherished listeners. Yes, it is true that we are currently facing this acute transport challenges, especially in Accra. And unfortunately, some private transport operators are taking undue advantage of our innocent travelers. That notwithstanding, as you rightly put it, unfortunately, after we assumed office, when the president appointed us, we came to meet an unfortunate situation where our fleet level has gone all-time low in the history of the company. As you are aware, I wouldn't want to bore our viewers with a long chain of historical antecedents. However, it is important to note that as you are aware, Metro Mass was birthed out of those traditional defunct USA. So in 2003, an act of parliament was enacted to establish Metro Mass. When Metro Mass was established, under the tenure of President Kufuor, Metro Mass had fleet levels of about 500 buses. North Mahama, spanning from 2009 to 2016, augmented our fleets with additional 500 buses. Unfortunately, during the last regime, under the previous NPP administration, led by Nana Akufo-Addo, we came to meet a report around 2017 where about 400 of Metro Mass buses were put on scraps and it was sold for a paltry. Some were sold at 2,500 cedis. Then again, 2 months into the elections of 2024, around October, additional 313 buses were again put on scraps and it was sold amongst persons and individuals and their cronies who were in charge at the time. This brings our fleet level down. Currently, we are operating averagely 115 buses across the country. We have about 90 buses at various levels of repair. About 197 buses have been declared unserviceable. The only buses which could have mitigated this Accra situation has to do with the EV buses. And as you are aware, just 10 days into the elections of 2024, then candidate Bawumia, Vice President Bawumia at the time, if you remember, told the people of Ghana that they procured about 100 EV buses, which was going to be used as a project in Accra to deal with Accra demand for transport services. Unfortunately, when we came, we realized that they only paid for 10 buses. Currently, the 90 buses under the contract is still hanging around the neck of government of Ghana. So as we speak, we have deployed the 10 EV buses to mitigate or to curb the current phenomena of high demand for transport services.
10
So
EV
as
buses.
you observed yesterday,
Okay.
we deployed some to mitigate the situation from Oponglo to Adenta. Others also moved to the stretch of around Accra proper, Kimbu, all the way to Tema. Then others are also taking the route of La Paz. And these are just 10 buses. And as you are aware, Today, Greater Accra is the most populous region in Ghana. So we've also stepped up our operational plan to add more fleets and to call back some of the buses, which are supposed to traditionally be routing outside Accra to come back to Accra and mitigate and solve the current problem in Accra. But going forward, His Excellency the President has also supported Metro Mass. Currently, we are procuring about 300 Isuzu buses, 29-seater from Cairo. I'm sure by first week of March, those buses, I think the supply of the buses have been staggered. So the first phase of the 100 out of the 300 buses will arrive in the country by first week of March. So by June, thereabout, we should be able to have the second phase of the 100 out of the 300 buses, making 200. Then the remaining 100 buses completing the 300 phase, we expect it around September this year. If all things being equal, I'm sure by September, Metro Mass would have retooled, the government would have retooled the company with about 300 buses. And this will help us to be able to deploy them, especially at where the traffic congestion and the rush hour movement is becoming alarming. It is not just only in Accra. It's also commuting on happening in other city centers across the country. But I can assure our listeners that this morning, or they want to study the trend for about 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we review it and see what we can do so that a much more lasting and permanent solution can be given to the current situation in Accra.
And you said you deployed 10.
Yes, currently
The electric vehicle buses.
10 electric buses.
Okay.
To the areas that I mentioned.
Okay.
One is also, I think 2 buses are doing the stretch of Kanishin all the way to Kaswa. Mm-hmm. Then La Paz routes. Then another one is also doing, another 2 is also doing the stretch of Adenta, Madina, Oponglo, all the way to Legon Junction. Then 2 is also taking it from Oponglo to Circle.
And so far, what report are you getting in terms of patronage and the impact it is having?
So far, so good. So far, so good. Like I said, I think we will need more buses to be able to meet the current population demand of Accra. That's why I said that we've decided that you have to recall most of these traditional buses routing at other parts of Ghana, say Koforidia, Kumasi, and some other places. Because like I told you, unfortunately, we are saddled with a fleet level which has gone down all-time low in the history of the company. We are just routing about 115 buses across Ghana. Meanwhile, around 2016, before the NDC exited power, we had close to about 1,000 buses in our fold. But unfortunately, under the previous administration, about 700 of them were put on scraps, and it was just sold among themselves.
I see.
And like I told you, only 90 of them are various levels of repairs, which our technical departments have also assured us that by the close of next week, they should be able to pull back on the road about 20 buses. So that is
the one that are currently being repaired. They have assured you that they can put 20 of them.
Yeah, 20
back on the road.
After I speak to you, yesterday they were able to pull about 3 of them.
Okay.
By tomorrow up to Saturday, you expect about 7 of them making 10. Then by next week, another 10 will also come on stream. Let me also put on record that one of the things that we observed, unfortunately, has to do with the last procurement of buses the elsewhere MPP administration involved themselves in. They actually supplied or brought in 50 Daewoo buses. Unfortunately, my brother, those buses were brought in without considering the weather and environmental condition of Ghana. Those buses were highly electronic. Unfortunately, those buses also came in without even a single spare part, not even a spinner or both the knobs. So when those buses break down, you cannot get the spare parts. You have to get a vendor who will have to pull the broken spare parts, put those spare parts in his or her luggage or bag, then get a visa and go all the way to Korea or China. In some cases, when they bring those spare parts, they are unable to fix well into the existing or those broke down buses. So getting the spare parts for those buses themselves is really a nightmare to the company. That is why we have made a bold decision that, ably supported by His Excellency the President, that henceforth, all procurement related regarding acquisition of new buses, we must take into account the weather and environmental needs of Ghana. We must get machines which are robust, strong, reliable, and efficient to be able to meet the current state of affairs.
You're talking about buses that are routing outside Accra, bringing them to Accra. Are you saying they are not needed in the places where they are?
No, I'm not saying so. What I'm trying to say here is that, assuming that Kumasi, we are running 2 terminals. We have Zone A, Zone B. Zone A is routing about 18 buses. Zone B is also routing about 18 buses. So with this, it puts it together to about 36 buses. So can we adjust and pull 2 buses back to Accra to come and solve this alarming situation currently at hand? Can we pull one from, say, Koforidua, Eastern region, pull one from Odan, pull one from Nkoko, to be able to help us augment the current fleet of buses that we are currently using to operate in Accra? Because like I told you, the situation in Accra is a bit more challenging. Even though we are up to it, but we still feel that we need to augment our fleet level so we'll be able to mitigate the situation.
I see. Well, there's someone who is asking, please tell him to put one on Ayi Mensah to Medina in the mornings and in the evenings. I realized that when we were talking, you said you had put 2 on that stretch.
Yes.
Well,
So I think what the gentleman is saying, like I told you yesterday, I think you observed that the MP for Ayawaso West Wogon, my own brother John Dumelo, had to also step in. Yes, we had that collaboration arrangement with them. So we are doing the Ayi Mensah all the way to Adenta. This morning, a bus moved to that spot. So that's why I said we want to study the situation for the next 2 weeks. Then we'll review it and see what you can do better, giving a much more permanent solution to the situation.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
I'm most grateful, my brother.
Haruna Apaw Wiredu is Deputy Managing Director, Metro Mass Transit Limited, speaking to us this morning. Like I said, our guest this morning is Dr. Rashid Pelpo, Member of Parliament for Wa Central and Minister for Employment, Labor and Jobs. Very big position. 3 things that he's carrying. Very, very big position. He'll be joining us shortly. We'll have a conversation with him. Don't forget, we are also talking about the matter of transportation. That's become a big issue. That has required attention of the Minister for Government Communications.
In the regrettable congestion that has happened regarding public transport. Indeed, I got off the line with the Transport Minister barely 30 minutes ago. First of all, what has happened is that there are some transport operators who are engaging